What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of the new Netflix original movie, Awake. This movie is directed by Mark Raso. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button as well as commenting below any video that you watch, including this one. So at some point in your life, whether you were very young or somebody who works a lot of hours, you've stayed up for multiple days on end. You've, lived through 3 or 4 days without sleeping. It's not a fun experience unless you're young and on drugs or whatever you're doing with your life. But it can cause you to see things. It causes your mental acuity and functionality to kind of stumble and start causing it to shut down because we all need sleep. It's something that is imperative through our life and so on and so forth to keep our brain functioning. So this movie Awake is basically that story told on a horrific level where something happens, something causes electromagnetic pulses, including our brains, to basically go out of whack. And we have this person named Jill, who's played by Gina Rodriguez. She's a mother of 2, also works in an army base, and basically that's what happens. Everything goes out of whack, and nobody can sleep except for her daughter, which becomes very, very important to the story. And basically it's a story about trying to get to a military base, trying to figure out how this event happened, and what causes people to literally go insane as they learn that they can't sleep, as their brains start closing down. We learn about what happens if it goes too far, and we start seeing the effects in the very kind of chaotic end of the world scenario that this entails. And so this movie is a very interesting one just for that simple fact that there's not a lot of movies out there that will deal with brain function and how the brain works and what causes the brain to shut down after a certain period, who will survive, who will not survive. It's that type of film, so it's a very much a end of the world chaos slash survival film in a lot of aspects, which is what Netflix is doing in a lot of their films these days. You look at stuff like Bird Box or Stowaway, it's very much about survival in a world where everything's just completely a mess and so on and so forth. And I was very intrigued by this movie from the trailer, of course, as you do with these types of films. Netflix has a habit of releasing movies or releasing the trailers about a month before they premiere on Netflix. So you, in a quick succession, learn about this film, and then it comes out and you watch it and you get your opinion. And so when it comes down to what I think about this movie, I'm kind of middle of the road. There are points where it's really harrowing and disturbing and really suspenseful. But there are points where this movie goes ultra over the top and becomes super silly and becomes, ultra violent for the sake of ultra violentness. And it's kind of one of those middle of the road films where I really enjoy the stuff that's very personable with, the Gina Rodriguez and her daughter and her son and stuff like that. We have character moments with Barry Pepper, who has some very interesting things to say in this movie about being awake and God and stuff like that. Then we have Shamier Moore, who is a convict who has some interesting kind of concepts and theories about him. And then we of course have Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's she's sprinkled throughout the movie and doesn't necessarily have a lot to do, but she is very much not a bad character. She's just trying to survive and trying to figure out what this cause and causality of this problem is. And like I said, it gets into some set pieces that are very, very over the top and silly and very violent for the sake of violent, and it's hard to want to really love this film, but it's hard to really hate this film because I think the characters are well written and well designed, but they're put in the scenarios that are just very much in The Last of Us or The Road or just these types of movies or video games where it feels like they're just setting this piece up to just do something kind of, to make it more interesting than it should be, I guess you could say. But the idea of not being able to sleep is a very scary situation. The idea of where do you go from here? How do you survive? I do think the conclusion to this film and the kind of the concluding nature is a little unbelievable, but in this world, I guess it makes sense. But overall, I think the movie has some fun and entertaining ideas, and the idea of being awake is a very scary thought of nature. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in because, at this point in my life, if I don't sleep, after one day, I start to kind of lose my sanity because, I really want to have some clarity in my mind, clarity in my ideas, and not being able to sleep doesn't really help that. So there's a lot of artists out there who don't sleep, and I don't know how they do it. But for somebody like me in this scenario, especially like this movie Awake, I don't know, it'd be really crazy to think about being awake for 6 days and not knowing if you're ever gonna be able to sleep again. So overall, I think it's still a interesting movie. I still think it's a fun movie. Like I said, the silly moments are there and just bonkers and over the top, so you might enjoy that kind of stuff. But for me, I like the personal stuff. I didn't really care for the over the top nature of this movie. So yeah, so middle of the road with this movie. So anyways, that'll be my take on Awake. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you decide to see this movie. What's your overall opinion of it? Is there a end of the world thriller, apocalyptic type scenario that you really like? But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.